this session of classification, whereby we are still grouping animals according to common characteristics and features. Remember, we base on different factors, different features, a number of legs. We base on the mode of reproduction. We base on the mode of breathing. Now, we are going to discuss amphibians as another group of animals, of actually vertebrates, that is under cold-blooded animals. Remember, cold-blooded animals, all cold-blooded animals have body temperatures change with the surroundings. So we are bringing this case of amphibians, and these are cold-blooded vertebrates. And why are they vertebrates? It's because they have backbones. And they can live both on land and in water. Amphibians, what makes an animal qualified to be an amphibian is that it must live both in water and on land. That's a qualification we take. We go to general characteristics of amphibians. They are cold-blooded vertebrates. We have seen that. Their body temperatures change with the environment. They reproduce, wonderful. They reproduce by laying eggs. Emphasis is on reproducing, not produce. They reproduce by laying eggs. They undergo external fertilization. The male sheds sperms on the eggs outside the female's body as they are being laid in water. We saw mammals undergoing internal fertilization. Birds have internal fertilization. We have seen fish going external fertilization. Amphibians also undergo external fertilization. But for reptiles, they undergo internal. Meaning they may ask, how are amphibians similar to fish? You would say they all undergo external fertilization. Or they pick an example of an amphibian and example of a fish. And they say, how is a frog similar to a tilapia fish in terms of reproduction? Make sure you say it out and say they all undergo external fertilization. They have no external earlobes. That's a characteristic you need to know. They are like reptiles. Their eggs are usually laid in egg spawns. That's why their eggs are laid. We are going to see egg spawns. These ones protect eggs from being taken by predators. They have scaleless skins. Their skins do not possess scales. They aren't scaly. Their heart is three-chambered, meaning they have two auricles, those are upper chambers, and one ventricle, that's the lower chamber. We have examples, and I still stress examples in each group. We have frogs, we have toads, we have newts, we have salamanders. They will ask, why is a toad called an amphibian? Don't say it is a cold-blooded vertebrate. You would say a toad is an amphibian because it lives both on land and in water. We continue and see differences between a frog and a toad. How are frogs different from toads, members? Frogs mostly live in water, while toads mostly live on land. That's the first trait they base on. That's the first difference between frogs and toads. Frogs have smooth, slippery skin, while toads are have warty, rough skins. That's wonderful. That's absolute. For frogs, their skin is smooth, but for toads, their skin are warty, rough. Toads lay eggs in long ribbon spawns, while toads, these are frogs. Frogs lay eggs in long ribbon. This is the ribbon they are referring to. Frogs lay eggs in long ribbons. This is a ribbon. They are in almost in lines. But for toads, they just lay eggs in masses. These are eggs of a toad. You can see the organization, but these ones are in ribbons. Frogs have fully webbed hind feet. Their feet are fully webbed for frogs, but for toads, they are partly webbed. Remember, we discussed a group of birds that have webbed feet. Can we guess? Can someone guess? Those are swimming birds. But we are looking at toads, rather, we are looking at amphibians, and we are taking a case of frogs and toads. Frogs can breathe through their lungs and moist skin. Those are frogs. Through their lungs and moist skin. But for toads, they entirely breathe through lungs. So we can answer like 3 questions here. How are frogs different from toads in terms of breathing? You will say frogs breathe through their moist skin, unlike toads. Or they may pose another question. How are toads similar to frogs in terms of breathing? You say they all breathe through lungs. Or they may say, how are frogs similar to man in terms of breathing? So make sure you know that frogs breathe through lungs and moist skin. And then for toads, they breathe through lungs. Tadpoles of frogs are brown, while those of toads are black. So when you just look at the young ones, those of frogs, they are brown, then those of toads, they are black. We got feeding. What do they feed on? They feed on small insects and worms. Those are frogs. They use their long sticky tongues to trap their prey. Those are the insects or worms they feed on. We go to reproduction as we try to wind up. The male and female mate. They do make sound. They make sound, then they mate. Finally, they will have to mate. Female lay eggs and male shed sperms over them to fertilize. This is the external mode of fertilization I was stressing. The eggs develop, and after about 2 weeks, they hatch into tadpoles. The tadpoles undergo several changes to fully develop until they fully develop into an adult. This takes about 3 months to complete the cycle. So those are amphibians. Remember, we have said amphibians are cold-blooded vertebrates which live both on land and in water. And we have cited out examples. We have seen toads, frogs, salamanders, and newts. Then still we cited and looked at the eggs, the arrangement of eggs in both frogs and toads. It's a point you need to understand. Then still the mode of breathing. Where do they breathe? Which part or how do they breathe? The mode of respiration. And we have seen still feeding and reproduction, that they have external fertilization. When we are looking at all vertebrates, we shall see that their fertilization is similar to those of fish. Thank you so much for listening to this clip of amphibians. We meet and discuss other areas pertaining classification of animals. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support.